Hello, welcome back. So all the foiling is now done, and now we're going to switch to the soldering. So sorry for this little camera move, but it is what it is. So what we're going to do is first flux, and that was what that little can was you saw for a hot second. Now this is the first time I've used the solid flux. I normally use a liquid, so there may be a little experimentation going on here. But the flux is what actually allows, sort of cleans and lets the solder flow across things. Now you can see some of these pieces move a little bit. So that's something I'm going to have to be very aware of as I solder, because I want to make sure everything is flat, obviously. Now, what also has to happen is, not only does this side get done, but then we flip the whole thing over and do it again. And that does give a little bit of a chance to flatten things, because when you reheat it, it kind of opens up the joints again. But this is the act that takes it from being a puzzle to actually a solid object. So, whoops. I just realized something. So this is like, see that gap right there? Here's the piece that fits in there, and notice no foil. Got a little anxious to start the soldering. So again, the foil process, this is the black line foil. And we're going to just line it up, and I just eyeball it, but that's about equal. As I stick it on this back side of that, I can see an equal amount of tape, foil tape on each side. And as you flip it over, you kind of want to make sure you're staying on track, keeping it straight. And there is a cheat if you don't. You can always cut some of the foil, because like right now, that side doesn't seem quite straight there. So give it a good press, tear it off. Now we can get rid of that. And then we have what is in essence a bones piece of plastic. You can see how a lot of the copper foil over the time has rubbed off on that. And now we fold these down. And see, there's a little bit of the black sticking up on that folded corner. So I had to make sure. Okay, that one slots not that way, but the other way. That's the thing, you never remember which way. Okay. Let me put a little of this there too. Hopefully that's enough. Like I say, I haven't worked with this before. So then, the next thing is, soldering iron is nice and hot. Tail is too short. Arg. Yeah, that should give me enough slack. Because it's plugged in at the transformer. So then it's just a question of getting things to melt. And then continuing, and see, this is a wide gap here, so I have to add more solder, and this will create a problem on the flip side. And hopefully when I flip this and show you that process, I'll remember to talk to you about that. Now also, you don't go all the way to the edge. There's going to be a bit of framing that goes around this. And one, you want to make sure it fits in. You don't want a big glop of solder where you're trying to fit the other part in. But you also you want to leave it open so that then when you come back with the solder again, that's what's going to be what joins the two pieces. And of course, you know, don't burn your fingers. Now see that little splat that fell right there? It was on the soldering iron. That won't stick to the glass. This is only going to stick where the copper is. And so you don't have to worry about it too much because that will come right off. Oh, now here's the, it got hot and then it got cold again. So that's the process. And I have to do this around absolutely everything. Flip it over. Now I did just hear a little crack. Now the one thing you need to be aware of is you don't want to let the iron stay in one place too long. If you get the glass too hot, it'll crack. So be careful with that. Be careful, full stop. But I'm going to switch now to time lapse. And you can enjoy watching the rest of this come together. So as you can see, I've done about half of it. Now, one of the things I wanted to stop and tell you about is, like right now, I just sort of tacked these into place because they were they were flapping around like fins. Funny thing about that. So I just did that little tacking. Everything else seems to be in a good position and it's flat. None of the paper's making it bubble up. So I'll just go on back to soldering. Of course, just about blown through this whole roll. Fortunately, I have more available. So I'm going to go back to it, and then when I'm done, you'll get the reveal. We'll probably make that the end of this video. You have a quick drink. And then away we go, right? So the radio seems to be playing appropriate music. So, excuse me, it's all soldered on this side. Now I haven't worried a lot about the quality of the bead on the solder yet because the thing is I'm going to flip it and that will alter what happens to this side because of the heat and things will change. So I will worry about it. So the next step is to flip it over and do everything all over again. Not everything, of course it's already foiled. But to put the flux on and then solder again. So now, worry about that later. And it's pretty, it can be rather fragile at this point because it's only soldered on one side. But it is a solid thing. So, wow, that looks great. So, of course, you have a lot of cleaning, a lot of steps to go yet. But now we simply flip it over and do it all again. So again, I would encourage you to subscribe if you liked what you've seen. That way you'll get to watch this whole piece come together. You'll know when the new step is done. So like in certain areas, there's just some great bead of solder. In other areas, it needs some more work. But step A is to get it all together. But I want to encourage you to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you like what you see. Hopefully this thing is in frame. And be sure to check out my website at greigleach.com. And a reminder again, I do have an exhibition opening in the DC area on this Thursday night, 2 nights from tonight. Well, 2 nights from when I film this. I don't know if you're going to get to see this tonight or tomorrow. But anyway, the show is Thursday night at Kyo Gallery, KYO Gallery.com. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I hope you enjoy and perhaps even learn something. Thank you now.